Alrighty, boys, the day has come. I thought it would not come out today, but it did. It is Christmas Eve, and we have received the 1.5.6 beta, and the 1.5.5 moved live. So this patch is about 3.8 gigabytes, and there are huge changes here, game-changing, like just overall changes that change the game so drastically to the point where it's like, you know, you got to start a new playthrough. You have to. I'm going to. Obviously after Christmas, I have to, go celebrate with some family. But yeah, huge stuff. Very, very, very big changes, and I'm very, very excited, right? So I am going to link this new beta patch down below, and like always, I have a script, everything I say, and all links that are stated, they're all going to be down below for you to read along or read later. So I am going to make this video a little bit short and to the point, even though it's probably still going to be long. But I am going to make a much longer video with all the changes included a little bit after Christmas when I have some more time, right? It will be more of a discussion video, and we're going to check out the full patch notes and all of that. But for this video, big changes, important changes, and we're going to go from there. So we're going to go first single player, then multiplayer, then both, and then also some modding changes as well. So yeah, big stuff. Let's get right into it. So single player first. First, of course, like always, we have a ton of crashes and performance issue fixes. One important being a refactor to the itemRoster system, which will make items and menus load faster and be more stable, which is very good to see. Crashes are on the screen right now, just a huge list of them if you do want to pause. We will go over them in the future video, that, like I stated before. Next, we got 14 new village scenes and 26 new possible battle scenes. Pretty much what this means is whenever you go into villages, previous to this, a lot of villages were just copy and pasted depending on where on the map you visited. Now there will be 14 new different ones that you can possibly visit, which is very, very good. And then also the 26 new possible battle scenes. Depending on the terrain, there's 26 new different places where you can actually have a battle in. Again, very, very good. It's gonna make the game seem like a brand new game because there's so much new different environments that you're gonna fight in, and make a lot of new memories. So very good to see. Now we have some villages have their productions changed, and villages in general were changed to look more like their lore and culture. I don't know exactly what that means, but we're going to see how the changes do look. Next, we have settlements now have icons on the right of their names to show if a tournament is active, and also if there are any quests to be done. I think this is very important for early game, and obviously the quest thing can carry over from early all the way to late game. So, very good. Now, you can also choose perks for companions outside your party, so you don't have to actually bring them into your party and then make the changes. Now they could be anywhere on the map, and you can still change their perks. Or not change, but kind of choose their perks whenever they level up. Very good to see. Next, we have is custom battles now have a time of day selection where you can choose pretty much at what time you want the simulation to take place. Also, heroes and custom battles now show the type of weapon they have equipped. So you can kind of see that before loading in. Very good. Then we have scoreboards after battles and other simulation conflicts like sieges and stuff like that will now show a list of fallen what's called heroes/lords that died in battle. Very good. A lot of people have said this on the forums. I've said this before. Very good to see that it has been implemented. Next we have is variations to troops and faces. So now you will see different types of banners and conversation screens. And I'm guessing this also carries over to like different villagers and different caravans, because a lot of them were reused, but now we're gonna have a lot more different faces during those like talking scenes before you either fight or before you do anything. So very cool. Also, players can now copy and paste their weapon designs in the crafting menu or the smithing menu with Control-C and Control-V. Very cool to see. Again, we do need that whole overhaul to the whole smithing system, but it's good to see that we are getting other features like this. Next, they changed talk and quick talk to visit and talk. So talk is now considered visit, and quick talk is considered talk in pretty much the character pop-up. They still do the same stuff, it's just they're named differently now, and it technically makes sense, because the original talk was usually you having to actually visit that person, whatever, if it was in a town or a village, but now it's just called visit, which makes sense. And quick talk was usually just going right into talking without actually going into the village, so it does make sense, the changes. Next we have this huge number of fixes to UI related problems. It's going to be on the screen right now if you want to pause. Like I said before, I will go over it in the future video. Then we also have improved accuracy with ranged weapons while mounted. Very cool. This goes for you and the AI, so good to see. Then we also have a target locking system that has been implemented. So players can now lock their camera to an enemy with the middle mouse button by default. So if you look at an enemy, you press the middle mouse button, it will kind of lock your aim onto that person, which is very, very cool. Long distance shots are going to be a little bit more possible now. Good to see. Next we have is mounted units can now get a morale penalty due to casualties within their own formation. So obviously mounted units are very, very overpowered, so obviously they need some kind of downfalls. And now if they, let's say you have a group of 20, 30 horsemen, if let's say 2 or 3 of them fall during their charge or whatever, they will start losing morale because people in their formation have, have died. So very cool to see. It's a cool kind of addition. Makes sense. Why not? Let's see how it works. Next we have this huge additions and changes to perks. They're going to be on the screen right now, and let's go over them. So first, they added weapon knockdown mechanics. So show of strength perk from the two-handed tree and hard knock perk from the polearm tree should now work properly. Cool. So we have a new mechanic called the knockdown. Cool. Then we also have added two-handed arrow deflection mechanics. Another cool mechanic. Again, I said that we need a lot more of these mechanics, and I can see them adding it into the game, and it's great to see. But pretty much the arrow deflection perk from the two-handed tree should now let heroes deflect arrows and bolts while blocking with a two-handed sword. Again, very, very cool. We always need more of these, and I think it adds a lot. We don't need them to be anything flashy or anything like fantasy-wise, like, oh, turn my sword into like a fiery sword. Nothing crazy like that. Still make it realistic. But at the same time, these mechanics will add a lot to the game and a lot to the combat. Good to see both of these added. Next we have is added 9 combat-related roguery perks. They added 1 combat-related stewardship perk and 5 combat-related medicine perks. Very good to see. Then they also added 6 different perk effects related to prisoner recruitment update, which are now available to all NPC lords alongside the player. So they did focus on roguery in this update, and they're going to talk about it a little bit more as we talk about the perks and other stuff that has been added. But they also added missing veterinarian primary effect, which is 30% chance per day to recover a lame horse. So obviously the lame horse effect, we have seen it in the previous patch. It's pretty much where if a horse falls down in battle, there's a chance it might become a lame horse, which has reduced stats. Now there's a 30% chance per day to recover and actually become the original horse that it was with this primary effect. Very cool to see. Then they also changed the Fortitude Tonic primary effect, which increased the hit points of other heroes in your party by 10. I don't remember exactly what the effect was at first, but now it is 10. Then we have updated Veterans Respect perk secondary effect. You are now able to convert bandits into regular troops. So there was kind of a problem with this one. It wasn't implemented properly, but now you should probably be able to obviously convert bandits into regular troops. And also they did a lot of stuff that had to do with prisoners and recruitment as well that we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. So very exciting stuff. Next we have is hostile actions against caravans and villagers. Pretty much forcing them to give you supplies, taking prisoners, or either attacking them will give you roguery experience. So very cool way, another cool way to actually up your roguery skill. And also recruiting bandits now also gives you roguery skill as well. Very cool, which makes sense. Next we have is a new feature called the I think I'm probably going to say this wrong, but the Emissary system, I think that's how you say it, has been added to the game. With this feature, when a companion or family member is left in a town or a castle, you can do this manually. The main hero will gain relationships with nobles and notables in the town or castle with a successful chance, or anybody else who visits that castle. A lord can visit that castle, a ruler can visit that castle, or town, right? The chance increases with their charm skill. So the higher charm skill they have, the higher chance they can gain relationship for you. Additionally, when the companion or the family member gains relations, he or she will also gain experience. I'm guessing charm experience in this, because they didn't really state it, but I'm pretty sure it's charm experience. And this experience is based upon how important the person they gain relationships with. So if it's a ruler of a whole kingdom and they gain relationships with him for you, they will gain more charm XP than if it was a notable. Very cool to see. Had no idea this was coming. Like I said before in my pretty much my dev update review video. Very cool system that they have implemented. I do think this is very, very good, and we obviously need different ways to target relationships with different people, and I think this is a great way to do it. Very good. Next we have is the prisoner recruitment process been completely changed, as I mentioned before. Each troop now has a required conformity value to be generated by your party or an AI party to be recruited to that party. So this value is based on the troop's tier, and the higher the troop's tier, the harder it will be to recruit them. And to generate conformity, it is automatically generated per hour for each random troop. And the higher leadership level is, the faster you will generate conformity, the value of conformity, right? And it's a cool little new system. We'll see how it works exactly. And also, recruiting bandits now carries a cultural penalty. Very cool to see. This has been mentioned a lot, and it's cool that it's finally implemented into the game. And also, a very big new feature, but might sound kind of small, is NPC lords can now recruit prisoners. And personally, I think this is very, very big change. Even though it sounds like a small change, this will give NPC lords a lot more troops and a lot faster, rebuild time of their armies. So very cool to see. Now, marrying off clan members is now possible. It's not really connected to alliances just yet, but you can do it. So, good start. Next we have, obviously, the huge long-awaited feature is the rebellion feature has finally been added. And here's how it works. So, loyalty and security is affected by many things. A town has been recently captured, starvation, mismatch of ruling clan culture, settlements, raided villages, governors, a strong garrison, policies, all that. That's how they're, affected. Now, if loyalty of a town drops below 25, towns start to generate more militia. This militia represents armed and angry people of the settlements. Thus, as loyalty drops further, if it drops further, less of them will join the defense in case of a siege. So if you have very low loyalty in a town and it's below 25, if a siege does happen, they will not fight for you. So there's a bigger chance it will get taken over. Now, once the growing militia feels stronger than the garrison, so if the number goes above what the garrison is, and if loyalty is below 15, a rebellion will occur. So if those two things happen, a rebellion will occur. The new rebellion clan, which will be formed, will try to defend themselves while trying to establish their legitimacy. In 30 in-game days, which is, I would say, a little bit less than, I'm pretty sure a year. An in-game year is about 82, 84 days. So about a third of that, a little bit more than a third. They will form a legitimate clan. So if they can do this for 30 days and they can hold the settlement for 30 days, they will form a legitimate clan and they can start initiating diplomacy and join a different existing kingdom. Very cool. Now, rebellion clans are always on bad terms with their oppressor, which is typically the owner of the settlement. Now, here's two things that they also added to this. If the settlement owner's culture the settlement's culture are the same, the rebellion clan will have a bad relationship with all the factions that share their culture. What does this mean? So, let's say you chose the Khazate culture in the beginning, right? And also the settlement is a Khazate settlement originally. Now, if a rebellion starts in that settlement, they will have bad relationships with every Khazate cultured clan or faction pretty much in the game. That's just how it is. Now, if the settlement owner's culture and settlement's culture are different, let's say I picked Khazate, but it's a Vlandian, Vlandian settlement, the rebellion clan will have a bad relationship with all the factions that share the owner's culture. So they will have bad relationships with all Khazate factions, but they will have good relationships with Vlandian factions, which is the faction that shares the settlement's culture. It's kind of confusing, but not really. They will side with the settlement's culture if you the owner have a different culture, but if you the owner have the same culture as the settlement's culture, then they will side against it. That's kind of the best way I can put it, right? What's it called? But it's also down below if you want to kind of read it, or the patch notes. It's all there if I'm not explaining it the best, but it is what it is. It's kind of a simple concept, but it could sound very confusing. Next, we have the snowballing fixes were obviously added. Clans will now stay alive a lot longer. They're going to share dinars, and overall, the inflation of dinars is pretty much gone now. Like the problem, we had a big inflation problem where some people kept getting very, very rich, and some people kept getting very, very poor. That is now fixed. Very good to see. Now, there's a problem that a lot of people exploited before that now has been also fixed. So players were making a lot of profit when they declared war, did a couple things, like took over a couple settlements, and then made peace right away. This has been fixed. So kingdoms now usually want money for making peace with a weak player/player kingdom. Additionally, if the player breaks truce, now his clan's aggressiveness increases, and it will be a bit harder/even more expensive to make new peace. The player now also loses a relationship with the rival king if he breaks the truce. So now there's a lot more negative aspects, and it's a lot more expensive to just, break the truce and then go back into it very quickly. Good change. And obviously it's upsetting, but it's a good change, I think. And overall, it makes sense. Next we have is players will get relationship and renown bonuses after donating enemy prisoners to settlements. So now we get a little bit more for donating enemy prisoners. Very good to see. Next we have is the number of notables were constantly decreasing. This has now been fixed. The number of notables in towns and villages is also now related to the prosperity value of the town and the hearth value of the villages that are connected to the town. Next we have is the main storyline quest Destroy Raiders has been implemented. So a new main storyline quest, very cool to see. And also 2 new conspiracy quests, which is also kind of main story in a way. Disrupt supply lines and conspiracy base of operations were also added to the game. Both very cool to see. And other quest changes are on the screen right now. If you wish to pause, we'll go over them a little bit more in the future video. Next we have is very devastating. Rest in peace to a lot of free dinars. You're pretty much the brother and sister that you do rescue no longer have pure bloods. They now use regular horses. RIP. Alrighty, on to multiplayer. So we have various changes to 4 maps. They're on the screen right now if you do wish to pause and check those out. Next we have is multiple crashes when battles ended on the main screen and in the lobby phase. All are on the screen right now, again, if you wish to pause. And lastly, you can now see who is online in your clan roster. Again, very cool, kind of small, but it is what it is. Now, onto both. We have a lot of good performance changes. You love to see it. So first, we have the loading time of scenes and battles has now been improved. It's a lot faster, a lot more stable. Good to see. Then we have both GPU and CPU memory usage has been reduced. Huge. This is huge. The more they can keep reducing this, the better you can run it, and the more people can play it. Next we have is improved terrain rendering performance. Again, very good to see. And then we have fixed various CPU memory leaks. again, your CPU is going to be a lot more stable, and it's going to be a lot more better and a lot more people are able to play the game. So good to see. And then next we have optimizations have been made for scripted objects and missions. Again, very cool. And that's pretty much what it has to do with in terms of performance. Now we have, again, another, I would say this is kind of a mechanic, but not really. But the direction of your shield is now actually important when you are blocking. And it is easier to now hit around a shield if the enemy is blocking in the wrong direction. So now you can't just put your shield up and just expect, you know, all incoming attacks to get blocked by the shield. You have to actually kind of like face towards the weapon that is attacking you. Otherwise, it will still hit you. So, very, very cool. There is a post that explains exactly how the change works. I am going to cover it in a separate video. But overall, the shields kind of work like shields now. You have to actually kind of use them appropriately, not just hit the block button and think, you know, everything's going to be blocked. Very cool to see. Next we have is archers will now move slightly to the side if they are blocked by friendly units and can't shoot. Very huge. They will no longer just stand there and not do anything. They will actually proactively move to a location where they can actually shoot. Not too far away. They're going to just do a slight sidestep if needed. So very cool to see. And lastly we have is some modding, you know, additions. So first we have is the modding kit now has a beta version that can be enabled the same way you enable beta for the base game. This was done pretty much because the base game version must match with the modding kit version in order to work properly. If you want to load in whatever you made in the modding into the actual game, it has to be pretty much on the same patch. So if you're on the beta patch of the base game and you're using the modding tools, you can't be on the live version of the modding tools. It has to be the same thing. So now if you do want to mod the beta version of the game, you have a beta version of the modding kit. Very cool to see. Next, they added 3 skeletons, the human, horse, and the camel skeleton to help people out. Very good. And then we have a lot more fixes that can be seen on the screen right now if you do wish to pause. And obviously, I think they're all overall very good changes, right? But if you don't know much about modding, they're not very interesting. But if you do, they're on the screen right now. So that's pretty much all the big changes. Like I said, I'm going to make a more detailed video very, very soon. This did drop on Christmas. I did come back to make this video, but I have to, you know, go be with family now. Hopefully all of you guys are being with family. Hopefully all of you guys are safe, regardless if you're celebrating the holidays or not. But yeah, very cool to see that they did implement this, what's it called? Implement this update. Huge. I am going to start a new playthrough as soon as possible and start posting videos on that. The old playthrough will still be played, no worries. But we're going to take a little break and do the new 1.5.6 because huge changes and I'm very excited. Lastly, I am going to end this video in the same way I end most of my update and dev talk videos. I want to thank the developers for staying active and bringing very, very, very good changes. I'm very excited. Great job, guys. Also, I have a video on how you can revert your game to any other patch released or to the current patch if you are having problems. The link to that video will be down below. Also, I did start a Patreon. It's nothing crazy. I use it for basic support. There's no paywalling, no extra content. It's literally just a way to support me and what I do further. I really do appreciate if you guys check that out. But obviously, with stuff going on in the world, you don't really have to because, you know, it's hard out there. I get it. But hopefully, this video is informative. And like always, stay safe.